Once again, another beautiful day here in Astoria, Oregon. My next guest on What Do You Want to Cook comes just from down the street in the heart of Astoria, the Liberty Theater. So Executive Director Jennifer Crockett is here to join me today. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. Thanks for inviting me.
For sure. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming. I think it's so important that on this show, What Do You Want to Cook? It is, yes, we are doing some cooking together and things, but it's also like I want to have conversations about the importance of culture and community in regards to, well, various in all aspects of a healthy, thriving town. So briefly, tell me about the Liberty Theater, right?
Yeah, we were born in 1925 after the fire of Astoria burned 37 blocks of downtown. And the civic leaders at that time understood that the arts was a great way to signal to people that downtown was safe and thriving again. So we were one of many theaters that were built at that time. We're the only one that still stands. And after some rough times throughout the 70s, 80s, and 90s, we were destined to become a parking lot like a lot of historic theaters. But a group of citizens came together and said, this place is worth saving. And they embarked on an ambitious capital campaign and restored the theater. And we are now a thriving performing arts center doing 150 shows a year and many more private events on top of that.
That's absolutely incredible. So wait, you said 1925, so that means that this year, 2025, is...
Yeah, it's the 100th anniversary of the Liberty Theater. We just completed an exterior renovation, so audiences and community members, people walking by are seeing the theater as it was in 1925. So same colors, totally restored exterior, 2 new roofs on the complex. So
that's
yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And it's right, like it's literally the heart of Astoria. It's right,
Yeah.
like dead center. And I feel like I've been here for 25 years, and I've been fortunate, like privileged to see everything come back to life. And it all kind of started right there.
Yeah.
And the things that have been happening there recently are just sold out shows and all this kind of stuff. Hard to get. You got to get your tickets early, right? If you want to get into a show like that. So hey, so we're gonna make some food. So I guess the first question, the second question that I have for you is, what do you want to cook?
I really want to learn how to make a steak. My family, like a lot of American families, my grandparents were born and grew up during the Depression. And so for them, when they finally made it as adults, steak and potatoes was seen as this like opulent food. They finally made it. But unfortunately, my grandpa would cook the hell out of it. And so my Sunday dinners as a kid were spent around a table listening to people work through an incredibly tough steak.
Did they ever comment? They never really said anything about it.
No, and you weren't allowed to use any, like, God forbid, ketchup or barbecue sauce. So I have been steak averse as an adult because I just have these memories of it just being dry and awful. So I would like to learn how to make a good steak.
My name is Chris Holen. For the past 25 years, I've had the privilege of calling Astoria, Oregon home. It's a place that's authentically reinventing itself and bringing about new life. And it's all happening through the incredible people that live here. They're making a difference, one meaningful act at a time. And that's not just an Astoria story, is it? It's a common thread intertwined through every thriving community around the world. Whether it's a small town or a big city, it's powered by its people. Folks dedicated to putting good out into the world. Now, What Do You Want to Cook? We're bringing these stories right into my kitchen. This show is about connecting with the heart of the community, no matter where you are. We'll cook dishes that tell a story. We'll explore how these guests are making a difference. And we'll discover together why these moments of connection are so vital in today's world. It's a cooking show, a talk show, and a celebration of good people. So, what do you want to cook? And what stories do you want to tell? As luck would have it. No, we didn't talk about this in advance. And I am going to admit that We are, honestly, we are cheating a little bit because I got tenderloin, or like these petit filet cuts of tenderloin. This is all beautiful Northwest Painted Hills beef. So this would be a petit filet is what you call it. So I thought we're going to keep it simple because we want to keep the conversation going.
Perfect.
So what we're going to do is, and you can actually, why don't you get, there we go. So let me tell you what we did. This is a, you can't get this anywhere but like right here, proprietary. This is matsutake mushroom like dust, all right? Dehydrated, made into a powder. I thought we would hint a little mushroom flavor on the steak, all right? And on here, this is a chanterelle mushroom. So both earthy, wild mushrooms that grow right in the forest out here during certain times of the year. So I made a chanterelle mushroom salt out of it, right? And this is actually my own brand, just saying. I know where you can get some of that Chef Daddy brand chanterelle salt.
It's really good.
It's a good, yep.
Yeah, it's a staple in our kitchen.
Good stuff. So we're going to lightly season, and then we'll dust both sides of the steak.
Okay. Is this like lightly enough?
You could put a little more on there. That's
okay.
Yeah. We're going to add this flavor. What we're going to do is we're going to sear this in cast iron.
Okay. Is that good?
Yep. And then season a little bit on the top with salt. We're going to sear it in cast iron. Okay. We're not even going to need to put it in the oven. These are really, really thin. Yep. We'll do the other side.
Okay.
They're not super thick. We'll be able to cook them all the way on the stove top.
Okay.
All right. I suppose we should grab a towel. Perfect. All right. Also, before we start cooking, let's do a little prep. I got these mushrooms. I actually went to the local co-op grocery store, as you do.
Nice.
You want to know what's available and best right now? You go to the co-op.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's their focus, right?
Yeah.
These are a king trumpet mushroom, and I thought this would be a nice addition to the dish. On here, if you would like, you can cut these up. I think let's do something like meaty, like that, and we're just going to saute these. We're going to start them with an olive oil, and then we'll throw in like a pat of butter at the end just to kind of make a sauce.
Okay.
But the goal would be to kind of cut them about that thickness so they all cook the same.
Good. You're going to judge my knife skills?
Yeah. It doesn't have to be perfect. You're a lefty.
I'm a lefty.
She's a lefty. And while you are doing that, I'm going to, this is the best way to sear a piece of meat and get a lot of color on it, right? So, cast iron. We're going to go like a medium. We're going to go like a medium to medium-high heat. We're not making like a big meal. I want to make sure we have lots of time for conversation. There's so many things to talk about.
There are.
Right. So while this pan's heating up and you're cutting that, so you are uniquely qualified to head up a theater like this. Why is that? I heard you're a professional musician yourself.
I am. I'm a clarinetist. I sub with the Oregon Symphony and the Oregon Ballet, and I play locally in chamber music and orchestras and anytime I can.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So when did you first
start playing?
Start playing, or like discover that you liked it and enjoyed it and it was fun?
When I started playing and when I started really enjoying it were kind of two different time frames, but I really wanted to play the cello. But my mom and my grandmother had both played clarinet, so it was sort of you're going to play the clarinet. I started when I was 10. I was lucky. I grew up in an area where band programs were prolific, and students started a little younger than they do out here in Oregon. And then I didn't quite catch on with the clarinet until I saw the Chicago Symphony play the Nutcracker Suite. And the clarinet solo in Waltz of the Flowers, that's what got me. So I was the kid walking around at like 12 or 13 years old, year-round with headphones on listening to Nutcracker. So Nutcracker holds a special place in my heart.
Has the Nutcracker been performed ever on the Liberty stage?
You know, we've done the suite, but the Liberty stage hasn't been renovated truly since the 1920s. So since we were built, so we lack a lot of the rigging and theatrical technical capabilities to do that.
Gotcha.
So we actually do the Nutcracker at Astoria High School, and the Nutcracker here that's put on by the Little Ballet Theater is, I believe it's 48 or 49 years running, except for COVID. And it is, I believe, the last full orchestra production of the Nutcracker in the Pacific Northwest. Everyone else does reduced orchestra productions. So Astoria has the 60-piece orchestra out there that you don't normally see.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and it's students on the stage, and so it's really a remarkable production for a town of 10,000 people. That's incredible.
Real quick, so those, you can use tongs if you like, so you don't get too meaty. We're going to go, see, there's a little wisp of smoke coming up, okay? Mm-hmm. So go ahead and just, you want to kind of, you don't want to drop them in. Okay. Kind of set them in there.
Okay.
That's perfect. Nice.
Good.
Okay. And then, you know, it's important to, we're just going to make sure that they're not sticking to the pan, all right? Okay. So my daughter, who's 18, she did the Nutcracker one season, and it is legit commitment.
Oh yeah.
They're not kidding around.
Yeah.
Like,
it's incredible.
You are there or you're not part of the production kind of thing. And I think that's really important, like, to learn that sort of lesson in life.
Yeah.
Like, you got to show up, right?
Yeah.
All right, so while we're doing that, let's kick on this. And did you play in the...
I did. I've played in
orchestra?
the Astoria Nutcracker every year I've lived here, so almost 10 years.
Commitment on your part as well, I guess.
Oh, it's great.
That's so much fun.
Yeah. Well, and you were talking about, you know, Anna and the commitment it took for her to dance on the stage in ballet school. Yep. Astoria has an astounding amount of dance studios up here on Northwest Oregon. There's, you know, some in Warrenton and Hammond and Astoria. And they have this fantastic pipeline to professional companies in the larger Portland metro. What we noticed, here's my segue, is that there was not the same equivalent for theatrical education out here. And as we're growing the Liberty Theater and we're becoming more involved in the community and we're talking about renovating our stage, one of our big concerns was, well, great, we're going to get this big stage renovation, but who is going to run it? We don't have the same programs here for future staff or stakeholders of the theater. So we started Kids Make Theater. It's just hit its 2-year open anniversary.
Kids Make Theater.
Yeah, and we have...
Tell me more about that.
Yeah, it's year-round. It's after school, camps, weekends. We have up to about 450 kids at any given time. Yeah, in a town of 10,000 people. You know, a significant amount of our students come from across the river in Pacific County, where there are also the, you know, same holes in education. Since we started it, our schools have begun more theatrical programming, which is great. We don't want to be an island. We want to create an atmosphere where this kind of education is seen as being important. But yeah, it's a ton of work for students, and it creates belonging, and it kind of catches kids that would fall through the cracks otherwise. If you're not interested in sports or you don't play an instrument, it's a great place.
Theater, unlike anything else, encourages people to step into the fullness of who they are, and kids need that. They need a place that they know that they have worth and value. Kids Make Theater is the educational program of the Liberty Theater for hands-on experiential learning for kids ages 3.5 to 18 years of age. We offer camps, classes, workshops, and productions in our state-of-the-art lab black box theater. The lab was a specially built theater for kids. It offers state-of-the-art lights and sound where they can practice hands-on the theatrical learning that they're receiving in other classes.
There are so many other activities in our area, but there has not been children's theater. And in today's world, we have become so isolated. So it's critical that we can bring our children here to explore and create and be together. That they can be an actor or actress, they can be a costumer, they can be a set designer and do lighting and staging. And Kids Make Theater at the Liberty will help these children do that.
You said that the Kids Make, it's inspired other more theatrical in schools or in other places. So it's not just this one-time thing. These kids are they getting involved in other productions?
Yeah. They predominantly, when we first started our program, the area schools had a theater program that was solely based on an end-of-year production. But Kids Make Theater, we do all year round, and it's more process-based than performance-based. We want to teach students about working on a team and tapping into their creativity and coming up with new ideas. And how do you put those ideas in writing? And how do you implement these things that you're learning into greater life? How does it help you be a better student, a better community member?
Yeah.
It's not just about memorizing lines. But so they're able to take that and integrate that with the school programs where it is a production, which is great. That's fantastic. They learn how to, address their nerves and be a little more confident and outgoing. But so the two programs really dovetail together well. So,
Well done.
yeah.
Right? Did you expect
we're
that
really
to
proud
happen?
of it.
Real quick. Here you go. So we're just going to flip those over away from you. It's better.
Okay.
They're a little. Don't get. Oh, look at that.
Yeah. Ooh, that looks fantastic.
So the meat, the petit filet, it's about, it's 2/3 the way cooked, right? We're going to give it a good sear on the other side. We're going to turn off the heat.
Okay.
All right. And then we'll throw a couple pats of butter in there. We'll baste the top with it.
Cool.
Sound good?
Yeah.
All right. In this other pan, let's throw in these king trumpet mushrooms. All right.
Perfect.
Those are, it's funny, we got more mushrooms than steak. That's all right, though. They look
great.
pretty good, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's give those a quick little saute. See, I'm cheating. You got a pan like that, it's easier to do, right?
Yeah.
Um,
I have to get one of those.
we're going to turn the heat off
Okay.
on the cast iron, and then let's go ahead and season these mushrooms. If you want to sprinkle a little salt in there, it's not going to take much. Maybe a little more. One more time. There we go. Awesome. All right. So we're just going to cook these. Okay. The meat, Okay.
Smells wonderful.
So while that's finishing up, what we're going to do is we're going to chuck in a couple little pats of butter.
Okay.
Because why not? A couple little pats of butter. We're going to kind of let them melt. And then we're going to kind of baste over the top just with a spoon. So you're going to take, look at that. These are
Perfect.
super good. They're going to have still have texture to them, Okay, in here, we're going to just do like that.
Awesome.
Let's get a little more flame just for a second here. That help a little bit. All right, and almost there. Let's throw this other, just because,
Let's do it.
throw another pat of butter in there. It's going to really just help with the texture.
Yeah.
So I think that's fascinating about the almost being like a I don't know, thoroughfare, you know, for these kids to like, they get this experience and they're like, I like it, that's super fun.
Yeah.
And then it keeps them involved. Like, what is the most, when kids make theater, tell me how that decision was made to kind of create this Kids Make Theater program.
Well, it was, like I said, we saw some holes in the education in the area. We've got really strong dance schools. We have really strong band and orchestra programs in the area. We didn't have a theatrical program that was as robust.
Right.
So we approached some donors and we wrote some proposals. We hired our program director is a former Broadway stage manager and director.
Like legit Broadway.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And so, you know, we started from scratch. We built this program. It has, you know, lots and lots of classes and lots of options. We're from age 3.5 up to 18. We teach lighting and lighting design and sound because we have a state-of-the-art black box theater, all donor funded. So it's process and it's also technical skills. So we have future staff of the Liberty coming up through our ranks. We have future audience members, future stage stakeholders and donors, and so it's pretty cool. We've created a pipeline.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Pipeline, that's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, yeah. Exactly.
I couldn't find it in there. All right, so I took the filet out of the pan.
Okay.
All right, and if you this is kind of a medium.
Yeah.
You can kind of feel.
Perfect.
All right. Now we're just going to let this rest for a couple of minutes. Tell me about the demographic of these kids. Like, what does it cost to go there? Right. That's a barrier.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We've done a lot of work exploring and trying to remove as many barriers as we can. Cost is a huge barrier.
Of course.
We have a donor that pays 90% of every student's registration.
You have a.
Yeah, so it's made it so that each semester or camp or workshop is $15-ish.
Yeah.
So that's been one way that we've been able to remove barriers. We're also exploring some transportation is the next barrier to overcome. If you are a parent or a caregiver that works multiple jobs and can't get your kid to our program, they're going to lose out on it. So that's kind of the next hurdle for us. Yeah. But we work with our local CASA programs. We've got foster kids. We've worked with Consejo Hispano. We're trying to reach as many kids that traditionally would fall through cracks as we can. I was a kid that almost fell through cracks. I was not a strong student. I barely graduated high school, but I had music and I had a vision, and playing clarinet and having a robust music program in my school is what got me through it. And so without that, who knows where I would be. So
busking. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's,
granted, the art's like.
You know, it's interesting, right? Though how your life, you get shaped throughout your life, and then you're ending up like the biggest stage of your career right now, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's been really wonderful to be the steward of this, 100-year-old grand Venetian vaudeville theater, literally in the center of town, and it's been such an amazing experience getting to know the community, and like we've talked about, making sure that the theater is something that our community wants, not that I want, or not that my board of directors necessarily wants. It's what does our larger community around us want from us? And so we've tried to let that be our guiding light throughout it.
That makes almost too much sense.
Turns out if people like you, they'll come see you.
Can you hand me that other plate right there?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what we're thinking. Nothing overly, I'm going to put that right there
fantastic.
so we have like a fancy picture.
Yeah.
I'm going to put some of these king trumpet mushrooms down. And then, so let me talk about real quick, before you, typically a good kind of rule of thumb is let the meat rest for a couple of minutes. It's going to finish cooking on its own. proteins like carry over, like up to like 5 degrees, after you remove them from the heat.
Okay.
And it'll help all the juices, they'll redisperse and it'll be juicier.
How did you know when it was done? Did you take its temperature? I didn't notice. Or did you just kind of go by a look?
Yeah,
and
so there's kind of a little
pokiness
thing, right? So if you held your hand like that,
Yeah.
like really loose, okay?
Okay.
So that right there, that's rare.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and you tighten it a little bit, medium rare, you tighten it a little more, medium, and then well done.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, right?
So
you
like
kind of
make
compare.
the hardest fist you can. That's what my childhood
Right?
students
And I hope I didn't, these are so thin, I hope
Yeah.
I didn't overcook
No,
them.
no,
I guess we're going to find out, right? Here in a minute. Otherwise, I'll like destroy, nothing will have changed. You'll still not want to have a piece of meat. Okay, so let's go there. Okay, so we got that. Let's put I got a couple more. A couple more mushrooms on
Oh
top.
my gosh, it smells so good. I'm so hungry.
Perfect. Can you bring a larger steak? And I'm not going to put any more. So this sauce is not like this, but it's not emulsified.
Okay.
Right? So putting this on there,
Yeah.
it would be kind of a turn off. I think it'd be kind of a turn off. See, like a broken sauce. However, let's put a little more of this around there. That's the mushroom dust.
Okay.
All right. That is that.
Perfect.
So before we eat,
Okay.
I know you're starving, right? You're like, come on, pick it up. Pick up the pace. Tell me more about, tell me something actually. We talked about Kids Make Theater. We talked about how this theater has been fully renovated by some wonderful group of people. And from what you've been there like 9 years, right? I've seen like the evolution of the programming as well. And is that out of the desire of the community? Like, what do they want to see as well?
Yeah.
How does that, tell me about the programming. Like, what kind of stuff are you doing?
We kind of have a motto at the theater that we'll try anything once. I personally, we've been called irreverent, which I love. We've had animal acts, we do tribute bands, we do comedy, we do classical music, jazz, all sorts of things. And I really like that about our theater, and I feel like we've reached a point in our programming where I can bring the audience along a little bit on a crazy journey. You know, we had dogs jumping through hoops.
I went to that one.
Yeah,
It
we're
was
about
awesome.
to. Yeah, it's awesome. And we're working on booking an acrobatic cat program that has like a cat rock band. We've explored like puppeteering with like metal music and stuff. And so it's kind of funny. The kind of weirder we get, the younger our audience gets. And also for us, we've done a lot of work in reaching sort of marginalized communities and younger communities for volunteerism. Our usher pool is nearly 100 strong. And
100 people that volunteer there.
And it turns out, you know, if you reflect the community that you are within, people feel more comfortable coming to your space. So if you have ushers of color or ushers that are in their 20s or 30s or, you know, from marginalized communities, your patrons will come. And then having the programming to kind of match that, they're a lot more willing to take chances on you.
You were meant to do this, weren't you?
I
I
had
feel
a
like
lot of
you're
fun.
really thinking about
Yeah.
like all the various
Yeah.
things.
I've got an awesome team. I've got, you know, our program director is not the only one from Broadway. Our office manager is also a Broadway stage manager. I've got professional musicians on staff. I've got theater kids on staff. I kind of have a knack for collecting people that have moved out here for other reasons, but
Yep.
have this background that I'm like, man, you have to be part of our team. So I've been really fortunate.
So if you want to build a healthy
Yeah.
organization, a healthy theater, build a healthy community, it's powered by all the people
Yeah, absolutely.
and recruiting them.
Yeah.
And that's what's so, you know, wonderful about the theater, but also wonderful about this town in general. Like people, you know, sometimes it takes free beer.
Yeah.
That's very enticing, or a meal. to
Yeah.
show up and volunteer, but like the caliber of people that are doing so is it's just incredible.
Yeah.
So we should eat.
Okay.
Is there anything else that you wanna add to this conversation?
I think to tapping into that love that people have, the theater, the Liberty, we are privileged in that we tap into love of historic preservation. It's a beautiful building, 100 years old, crown jewel. We also tap into people that love the arts. We tap into people that love being involved in their community. We're able to sort of hit from many different angles in ways that other organizations may not be able to. We've got more than 400 nonprofits in Clatsop County, and so they're 400 in a community of 40,000 in the county.
Right.
But so there's a strong background of volunteerism here and a very engaged community, and so we've really benefited from that.
That's
and people
amazing.
Like you. You've cooked many times at the Liberty. I've seen you volunteer many times at the theater. And so you and your family, and we're really lucky in this community to have such a wonderful organization.
We're all just lucky to live here.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope that I hope this conversation can inspire other people in other places around the world. You know, this is cool. Like, we get to share the stories of what the people here and what these people are doing to create and maintain a healthy, thriving, small city, and I hope that other people will take a few lessons from this. Yeah. So, Jen, thank you.
Yeah.
For joining
Thank
me.
you for having me.
That was awesome, folks. If you're enjoying our content and our new little show, What Do You Want to Cook? Please hit the subscribe button. You like the Chef Daddy salt? I know where you can get some, and. Thanks very much for watching the show. We'll see you next time.